In some stunning public testimony before the January 6th committee, former justice officials detailed then-President Trump's bold attempts to use the country's top law enforcement officials to keep him in power. They described nearly daily meetings in which they say Trump would badger them to investigate baseless claims of voter fraud during the 2020 election.
Sandra Mitchell joins us live from the KTLA News Center with more on today's proceedings. Sandy.
Cher and Rick, big new revelations today, including that former President Trump wanted to fire the acting attorney general and replace him with a lawyer who, according to one witness, would do whatever the president wanted him to do.
Do you swear unaffirmed on the penalty of perjury?
Hands up in oath. 3 attorneys today testified about high-stakes happenings at the Justice Department. The witnesses described how former President Trump insisted the 2020 election was stolen and that Mr. Trump demanded they work to keep him in power. The former president saying,
"What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman."
The former U.S. Deputy Attorney General said in the weeks after the election, the president increased the pressure to try and overturn the election, threatening to fire those in his circle who did not cooperate.
The common element of all of this was the president expressing his dissatisfaction that the Justice Department, in his view, had not done enough to investigate election fraud.
The witnesses describing White House meetings with the president yelling at one point, "Why don't you guys just seize machines?" The outburst, according to the former U.S. Deputy Attorney General, came after they told the president they had no proof of widespread election fraud.
We had concluded, based on actual investigations, actual witness interviews, actual reviews of documents, that these allegations simply had no merit.
For the first time, the committee also revealed that several of the president's closest allies, including Republican Representatives Mo Brooks, Matt Gaetz, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, requested pardons for their roles in the plot to challenge the election. Unlike the violent video of the January 6th attack on the Capitol previously shown to the Select Committee, today's testimony was subdued. But the committee did see this letter the president wanted to send to swing states, saying there were significant concerns with the results.
Mr. Trump was told by his own advisors that he had no basis for his stolen election claims. Yet he continued to pressure state officials to change the election results.
Today was the last meeting of the month. The committee now is going to take a break before another round of hearings next month. Apparently, the committee just needs more time to review never-before-seen documentary footage of Mr. Trump and his family.